Hey everyone, it's Sunday, so it's time for a video devotion and update about the things coming up this week. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for everyone who joined our Zoom Hangouts. We had great fun and played great games. Got to do a what's coming up next. We got to watch video clips and then guess what was going to happen next. And great Bible studies. And as we continued the Start the Streak Challenge, which today, I guess in a really funny way, is the last day of the Start the Streak Challenge. We'll announce the winners Wednesday, but today you still have an opportunity. It's not too late to get today's in. Remember, it's on Instagram. You just go to the Start the Streak post. What is the streak? How to play, bonus points, prizes, what to read, or 5 and 6, and then how to read. There's a plan. If you're not really sure how to start doing that or even where to start, this is a great kind of thing to get you started. I know we talk about it a lot, but in case you forget, I'm forgetful, I understand that. This is a great reminder of how to read and read the Bible. So today is day 21. It is Lamentations 3. So many of you may have never read Lamentations. It is written by Jeremiah. He is in the ruins of Jerusalem, which was the capital city for the Israelites. Now, the reason it was torn down, a lot of them have been taken into Babylon, right, as captives at this point. But he's kind of amongst the ruins of the once great city of Jerusalem. And although he never directly says why this happened, he kind of alludes to the fact that the political leaders kind of stopped doing God's will, and so did the religious leaders. They didn't see this coming. They weren't really in tune with God. They started kind of doing some of their own stuff. And the people in general did that too. They kind of walked away from God. And I don't know if you've ever gotten in trouble for something you did, or like maybe you lied to a parent or a guardian, or maybe you lied to a friend, or maybe you said you do something and then you didn't do it, or maybe somebody gave you a really great piece of advice and then you didn't take it. But here's the thing. When God asks us to do something, it is always in our best interest. And these people that he chose specifically to be a light to the rest of the world, he was going to bless them over and over and over, and he has done that. But they continue to kind of walk away, and we're kind of that way, right? We get a little stubborn. We kind of lose our way sometimes. But this is where we find Lamentations. Jeremiah, with the people that are left after a bunch have been taken into Babylonian captivity, he's there. He's kind of looking at the ruins of their once great city. And Lamentations is the lament. It's the sadness, the kind of like, man, we really messed up. This is not great. And so chapter 3, here, we learn two very important things. And this is what I want you to take out of this chapter today. One, Jeremiah, even though he was very faithful to God, feels things deeply, right? A lot of times when we experience disappointment, even if it's through things or because of things we've done, right? A lot of times there's that advice for just kind of like, just put it to the side, or not think about it, or not process, right? Just like push through. But here, Jeremiah is very open about how he feels, even though he realizes also this is their fault. Isn't it easy to like do something, or like betray a friend, or get upset, or do something, and then there are repercussions, or there like things happen to you because of it, and then you're like, oh man, like you get upset that the thing happened to you even though you caused it, right? We can kind of do that sometimes. Jeremiah here doesn't make excuses, which is really interesting. He said, but he does feel what's happening very deeply. He says, like, starting in 3, I am the one who has seen the afflictions that come from the rod of the Lord's anger. He has led me into darkness, shutting out all light. He has turned his hand against me again and again all day long. He has made my skin and flesh grow old. Let's see. He has broken my bones. Like, these are all very like vivid metaphors, right? But he is kind of lumping himself in with the rest of Israel, right? he is acknowledging like that this is a terrible position they're in, but he doesn't make excuses. Right? A lot of times it's much easier to blame other people for the things we did wrong. Let's just be honest. It is. Right? But he is saying that he is processing his emotions, how he feels, how Israel feels. He even says things like, where he has blocked my way in a high stone wall, he has made my road crooked, he is hidden like a bear or a lion waiting to attack me. He has dragged me off a path and torn me in pieces, leaving me helpless and devastated. That's some pretty deep stuff. These people were just like wrecked, man, about like what God allowed to happen to them. But it was because of their disobedience. They weren't relying on him, relying on his power, relying on his provision. Because a lot of times we get in trouble when we don't listen to God. That's just what it is. Because God is always trying to act in our best interest. So we learn, one, that Jeremiah processes his emotions, but he doesn't make excuses. Right? There are things in this world that aren't our fault, like coronavirus and lots of other things, right? But here, like specifically, he realizes that they messed up by not doing what God asked them to do. But here's the really interesting part, right? Verse 21 is kind of the turn. The first 20 verses, he processes his emotion, processes kind of like how devastated Israel is. But verse 21 says, "Yet I still dare to hope when I remember this." So it turns, right? Like even in those feelings of despair, even in those things I feel, even in my kind of mistakes and the ways I messed up, I can still have hope. Because here's the truth, right? Here's the truth, not how you feel. Here's the truth of who God is. The faithful love of the Lord never ends, right? Currently they're feeling this way, but God's love never ends. His mercies never cease. Great is his faithfulness. His mercies begin afresh each morning. Even in the middle of their situation, God's continuing to, he knows God is there looking out for them. I say to myself, the Lord is my inheritance, therefore I will hope in him. Right? In the middle of all this emotion, he knows this is the truth. He can have peace through all these things. The Lord is good to those who depend on him, to those who search for him. So it is good to wait quietly for salvation from the Lord. And it is good for people to submit at an early age to the yoke of his discipline. Because the earlier you start doing God's will, the more you get to enjoy the things that come from a relationship with him. Right? The earlier you start listening to him. So, this is, I want to keep reading because this is amazing. Like, after he's talked for so long about how heartbroken he is, this is what he says. See, for no one is abandoned forever by the Lord. Though he brings grief, he also shows compassion. Because of the greatness of his unfailing love, for he does not enjoy hurting people or causing them sorrow. God doesn't enjoy watching us suffer. God doesn't enjoy the outcomes of when we don't do his will, right? Because if he wants the best for us, and he is asking us to treat people a certain way, or forgive people, or let things go, all those things are in our best interests, right? He doesn't like seeing us hurt. Otherwise, he wouldn't tell us how to live a life full of joy and peace and love and patience and kindness and just self-control. He wouldn't teach us any of that stuff if he didn't genuinely care for us. So that's what we can get out of this. Is like even when we are kind of undergoing those things that maybe are our own fault, God has not abandoned you. He still loves you. And he wants to help you walk through those things, right? And you may be like, I just haven't been really doing God's will. I've been kind of doing my own thing. And maybe you've gotten into trouble with it. Maybe it's gotten you into trouble with friends. Maybe it's gotten you into trouble with parents or guardians, right? Fights. Maybe a lot of this time together and maybe not exercising patience with the people that you may be staying at home with or in close proximity to has caused some tension. right? When God calls us to forgive and let go of things and look for ways to help others, that's to help our relationships. But even if you have done that, God still loves you, right? He wants to help you repair those things. As Jeremiah says here, even though we have done wrong, God still loves us. That's on us that we did that thing. But God loves us so much that he wants to help us repair things. And the truth of the matter is, he hates, and it breaks his heart just as much as it breaks yours, if not 1,000 times more. So, God loves you. We love you. And I hope this message of these people brings you hope and joy, right? Because this is the God we serve. This God who, when we run as hard as we can away from him, is like, I love you. Yeah, there may be some bad consequences from things that we do because we have free will and we choose to walk away from him. He's like, I love you. I want to restore you. I have great plans for you. You just have to trust me. You have to come back to me. You have to learn what's in here. You have to learn who I am and then put that into practice. It's like we said Wednesday, right? It's not enough just to know you need food to live, right? You have to eat the food. That's wisdom. Knowledge is knowing. Wisdom is doing, right? The Israelites knew who God was, but they didn't live that out. They kind of wanted to do their own thing. They did not exercise wisdom. So, this week, that is the devotion for today. This week, we got 2 challenges coming up. For the next 3 weeks, we're going to be reading John, the Gospel of John, chapter a day. It's going to be really cool. There are 21 chapters, so it'll take us 3 weeks to get through. Same thing. We're still going to do streaks. Remember that it's just what verses you read it, what verses you like, why they speak to you, how you're going to apply them, right? We need to know things, and then we need to put that into practice or help God, through his power, help us put that into practice. That's when our lives really change. That's when kind of the rubber hits the road. So we're going to do that for the next 3 weeks. And we're also going to be posting, we'll have a prayer kind of guide for each day in the week, things to be praying for people who are hurting or are primary care people and people who really need prayer during this time. So that is another kind of challenge we're going to be putting out there. Also, normal weekly things going on. We're going to have Fortnite on Tuesday from 6:30 to 8:30. Again, if you need my Epic account name, let me know. Thank you to everyone who's been doing that. That's been a ton of fun. We've really been enjoying it. Also, on Wednesday night, we're going to be meeting from 6 to 7:30. That's our regular Wednesday night live hangout. Playing games, doing a short Devo, getting to catch up with people. If you haven't seen people in a while besides just in classrooms, this is a great time to catch up, see people, and just be, even though we can't physically be together, just see each other and catch up and spend that time together. And we do the same thing on Thursday from 2:30 to 4:30. Play games, short Devo, and catch up and just get to be part of each other's lives, which is just a blessing that God gives us. We love you guys. We miss you. Hopefully we'll see you soon and talk to you soon. And we'll see you this week.